We've all heard of the Yeti, the abominable snowman, Bigfoot, and other cryptids of that similar nature. But what if I were to tell you that West Texas has its own paranormal cryptid just like these? I'm Mortika Lacrosse, or Kai, your host. This is Paranormal Plus.
Everyone knows that on October 20th, 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin managed to catch a real-life Sasquatch on camera out in Bluff Creek, California. What a lot of people don't realize is there are several other forgotten monsters similar to Bigfoot. On July 6, 1977, three youths in the city of Hawley, Texas, encountered what could be described as a typical Bigfoot-like creature. The encounter began at 10 a.m. while teenage boys Tom Roberts, age 14, and Larry Suggs, age 15, cleared brush from the property of Abilene Boys Ranch. So while they were taking a rest, they started getting rocks thrown at them, right? And they looked to try to see exactly where it's coming from, and they keep on getting hit by stones. And next time it was harder, as if this particular thing, whatever was throwing rocks at them, was angry. With arms in front of their faces, they tried to shield themselves. The two began to shout at their unseen assailant to, just stop. Well, that's when they heard the snapping of tree limbs echoed from behind them, as if something very large and almost as tall as the trees was approaching them. So they take off, right? They flee the area, and at one point, the teenager Larry turns behind him to look to see if he can see what it is. That's when he managed to see what was a brown-haired, giant ape-like creature standing behind the tree. So they're terrified. They run off to the home of Mr. and Mrs. McFarland as they frantically pound on the door for some help. That's when Renee, the homeowner's daughter, who is 15, answers the door and lets them inside. After they explain what happened, she grabs her father's deer rifle and hands it to Larry, saying that they should go back to the location of the assault and kill the thing that attacked them. Obviously, wanted to get revenge of the attacker. They got back and they started yelling, trying to get the creature. From the woods emerged a 7-foot tall, shaggy-haired, humanoid-looking creature with huge arms that hung down past its knee. And obviously terrified, Renee shouts, and for Larry to shoot it, and they took the shot. The recoil of the blast, hit him back to the ground. The creature took off running. The trio of the teenage monster hunters made their way back to Abilene Ranch and started sharing their story. So there were a bunch of men that listened to their story. One of the men that listened to the story was manager of the Abilene Ranch, Mr. Bob Scott. After hearing the tale, that reminded him of this location, which the wooded area passed the exact location where he had lost 21 of his goats the past few days. Now, of course, because there was no particular name set for this creature, the boys kept on referring to it as him. It became known as the Hawley Him because the particular area that it mainly was at when it would be spotted was in the city of Hawley, Texas. And of course, there was this billionaire oil tycoon who posted a 5,000 bounty on the face by the name of Jack Grimm. Still to this day, even though it was mainly spotted during the 70s craze of spotting creatures like Bigfoot, still to this day, there are sightings of the Hawley Him in the areas of Hawley, Texas, Anson, Texas, and Abilene, Texas. Tell me in the comment section of what you think of this particular story. Now, this next Paranormal Plus story, if you will, is about star jelly, also called astromyxin astral jelly. It's a gelatinous substance that's found on grass or even branches of trees, and it has been reported for centuries, including around 1280 to 1361, and found throughout the entire planet. Where this star jelly comes from is unknown, but there are many paranormal theories, if you will. One including that has something to do with an alien species, while others not so out there and supposedly from the glands and ducts of frogs and toads. Yet it's not been proven exactly where it comes from or why it's there. A 14th century Latin medical glossary described it as a certain fatty substance emitted from the Earth that is commonly called a star that has fallen. So one of the possible paranormal theories that it was somehow dealing with falling stars. But of course, it's still not explained. I guess this could have technically been a strange but true as well, and not so much paranormal, since really nobody knows what it is. But some have actually suggested that it could be used to treat abscess. So tell me in the comment section of what you think of this particular Paranormal Plus / strange but true story, if you will, about star jelly. I'd like to hear your feedback.
Dude, this is wrong, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing! It's rotating.
So, genuine footage has been recorded by the pilots of a U.S. Army helicopter shows 3 identified moving objects. The sighting occurred November 6, 2018, was captured on camera by pilots of a U.S. Army A-64 Apache. The story comes courtesy of the debrief, which interviewed several individuals, including the former Customs and Border Patrol agent. It confirmed that it isn't just U.S. Navy pilots who have been counting unidentified aerial phenomenon over the U.S. airspace. The United States government has now finally confirmed that there are UFOs and that they have no idea what it is. The first time in 5 decades, Congress held a hearing on the possibility of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, now wisely renamed unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAPs. More specifically, the hearing was held by the House Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation Subcommittee, chaired by Representative Andrew Carson, Democrat of Idaho. He wasted no time cutting to the chase by calling out the Department of Defense for ignoring a potential threat. He said, for too long, the stigma associated with UAPs has gotten in the way of good intelligence analysis. Pilots avoided reporting or were laughed at when they did. He said, DoD officials relegated the issue to the back room or swept under the rug, entirely fearful of a skeptical national security community. Today we know better. They are real. They need to be investigated, and many threats they pose need to be investigated. So basically, the United States government has confirmed that UFOs are real and that they don't know what they are. But obviously, it could pose a potential threat if, for instance, it's not aliens and it's perhaps a foreign country that is not an ally of the United States and is our enemy, or even if it is aliens and these particular aliens might pose a potential threat to the world if considered hostile. With top Pentagon intelligence officials sitting before him, Carson told him that the UAP sightings represent a potential national security threat and need to be treated that way. It's no surprise to those paying attention. Both Ronald Moultrie, under the Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, and Scott Bray, the Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence, agreed with the congressman. Both men are overseeing the newly created Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. The group's creation came about over the past 15 years. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence reported last year that there have been at least 144 credible yet unexplained sightings of UAPs. So there you have it. The United States government has confirmed that UFOs are real and that they don't know exactly the origins and that it could possibly be from up there.
And so there you have it. That's been this episode of Paranormal Plus. If you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified of future Paranormal Plus videos. Comment down below of what you thought of any of this paranormal content that was in this video. I'd like to hear your feedback. And now for the outro. Remember, when conventional science and conventional wisdom hold no answers, might we finally turn to unconventional science and unconventional wisdom as the answer? I've been your host, Kai. I'll see you on the other side.
I would like to begin with a poem in old-fashioned meter. Be good to us, and we'll be good to you. Be good to us, and we'll be good to you.